Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Sandy Smith, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Flight Lieutenant Christopher Morris. We warmly welcome the family of Private Milton Alfred Warner, whose story will be told shortly. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. If you are able, I now invite you to please stand and join in singing the national anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is got by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Visitors who are able, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private Milton Alfred Warner. Milton Warner was born on the 23rd of January 1909 in the Adelaide suburb of Woodville, the son of George Alfred and Laura Emmeline Warner. He attended Pulteney Grammar Adelaide and went on to work for the Victorian Railways. In 1931, he married Irene King. The couple had a daughter, Joan, in 1933 and a son, Kevin, born in 1937. Known by the nickname Plum, their father, Milton Warner, enlisted in the militia on the 26th of January 1939, but was discharged in February 1942, having been absent without leave since mid-December the previous year. In that period, he'd actually enlisted in the 2nd Australian Imperial Force on the 25th of May 1940, claiming to have been working as a butcher for 1.5 years with the Australian Army Service Corps. Posted to the 2nd of the 22nd Infantry Battalion, he soon joined a training unit. In August, Warner was hospitalised, suffering from rubella, and later from a reaction to a vaccination. His third child, Judith, was born on the 3rd of February 1941, at which point Private Warner was found absent without leave from Camp Bungilla. He'd gone to see his new daughter. They would not have much time to spend together. In April 1941, Private Warner and his unit prepared for active service in New Britain. Arriving at Rabaul on the 26th of April, the battalion formed the main element of Lark Force. Tasked with protecting the airfields at Lakunai and Vanuatu, the seaplane base at Rabaul, the battalion spent the following months constructing defences against a Japanese invasion and training for operation in a tropical environment. Warner briefly attended hospital with a lacerated knee in September, and in October was again found absent without leave and was fined. In December, he was confined to barracks for 5 days for a disciplinary infraction. In January 1942, the Japanese bombing of New Britain began, increasing intensity as the months continued. In the early days of the new year, Private Warner was in hospital, suffering from malaria, but he soon returned to service. By the 22nd of January, the RAF's number 24 squadron had almost been destroyed and its 3 remaining aircraft were withdrawn. With no use for the airstrips, they were destroyed, and Lark Force withdrew from Rabaul, waiting on the western shores of Blanche Bay for the inevitable Japanese landings. These began at 1 a.m. on the 23rd of January. Overwhelming Japanese strength, combined with communication failures, quickly cracked the cohesion of the Australian defence. Realising the futility of the situation, Colonel John Scanlon ordered a withdrawal on the basis every man for himself. Over the following days, groups and individuals sought to escape along New Britain's north and south coasts. Some found small boats and got away on their own. Others were picked up by larger vessels operating from New Guinea. Around 400 members of Lark Force managed to return to Australia. A grisly fate awaited some who were captured. On the 4th of February, a group of 160 were massacred at the Toll Plantation shortly after they had surrendered. Private Warner was lucky enough to avoid this fate. He was among the group of approximately 850 military personnel and 200 civilian internees held prisoner at Rabaul. On the 22nd of June, most of them were ordered aboard the ship Montevideo Maru for transportation to Japan. 8 days into the voyage to Hainan, Montevideo Maru was spotted by the American submarine USS Sturgeon, which manoeuvred into position to fire its stern torpedoes. Survivors from Montevideo Maru's Japanese crew reported two two torpedoes striking the vessel, followed by an explosion in the oil tank. The vessel sank in as little as 11 minutes. Of those aboard, barely 20 Japanese crew survived. Over 1,000 others died. According to a surviving Japanese crewman, Australians in the water sung Auld Lang Syne to their trapped mates as the ship sank beneath the waves. This sinking is considered the worst maritime disaster in Australia's history. Among the dead was Private Milton Warner, who was 33 years old. With no knowledge of the loss of Montevado Maru, the families of those aboard continued to send letters in the belief that their loved ones were being held as prisoners of war. It was not until after the war that they had discovered the fate of those who had been lost on the Montevado Maru. Today, Private Milton Warner is commemorated at the Rabaul Memorial and the Montevado Maru Memorial in Ballarat, and the Rabaul and Montevado Maru Memorial here at the Australian War Memorial. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Milton Alfred Warner, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of our director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support during the memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.